What's going on, guys? How are we doing? Hope you can all hear me and see me okay. I'm using brand new software today. This is how we're basically going to do the previews from now on, because I just think it'll be a little bit more fun to get you all involved and stuff. And while I'm saying that, get in the comments. 200 of you here already. Get in here. Let me hear from you guys. How are we feeling about tomorrow? North Street says, great to see you again. Great to see you as well, mate. And Robert, great to see you as well, bud. Yeah, get in the comments, guys. Let me know your thoughts ahead of the game. It's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? Bloody hell. Software looks mint, says Corbs. Thank you so much, man. I'm working pretty hard on making this season a bit special for the channel, to be fair. I kind of let you guys down last season. I was very, very busy with house moves and operations and all sorts of bloody things. It's an absolute nightmare, I'll be honest with you, but we're here now. What's going on, Carl? How you doing, bud? How's things? Hope you're all good. Yeah, well, we're carrying on with this. We're going to do a big preview. John's going to be on these in future as well, but he's not able to do a stream as early as this, unfortunately. So, but yeah, in future, there'll be more of the Wolfpack lads on here as well, not just me. But I thought we'd get started on a couple of things. So, first of all, I hope you're all well. Let me know in the comments your thoughts ahead. Here we go. Here's the one here just coming in. It says Corbs. He says, yeah, feel like we're going to get battered and can't see us doing well. Yeah. Really hoping pre-season was a jog around to avoid injuries, outgoing lack of incoming players, as me dreading the season cheers me up, mate. Says Scott. Good points, to be fair, man. Like, we didn't look great in the pre-season, did we, to be fair? And it has left a little bit of a sour taste in our mouths, doesn't it, to be honest? But you know what, we've got to back the lads now. We've got no choice. You know, we're here to back the lads and get them over the line the way we do best. We tend to be pretty good, actually, when the chips are not in our favour and when the cards are dealt and they're all a bit shit. We tend to do pretty well. We tend to like be a bit of bit good, really, when we're the underdog. So we'll see how it goes. Wolves going down. He's the negativity coming in straight away. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. You're gonna get honesty here. You are gonna get absolute honesty. Brutal. brutal, honestly. I don't think it's going to be a very good season. But we've already done the season preview a little bit, so have a little look at that if you want to as well. Third kick does look very nice, doesn't it? Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit on a different video, I think. But anyway, we've had a little discussion. Let's talk about a couple of things, shall we? First of all, we need to talk about Vitor Pereira and obviously how we feel about how he's been so far and what he's had to say, really. I'm actually genuinely quite surprised of his comments, to be fair. I was quite positive, and I suppose you've got to kind of be positive in front of the camera, I think, to be fair. But yeah, it was just a bit like I wasn't quite expecting as much positiveness as you said. But to be fair with you, I think he made some good points. I think he said about, he had a nice conversation with Strand Larsen, said that the pressure, he shouldn't be feeling so much pressure as a youngster. He's got 10 years left, he said, of good football left in him, and he needs to, take that pressure off and start having fun. And I think that's a really, really good thing to say to players that are probably feeling a lot of pressure. I think sometimes we get lost in the the excitement of the game and whatever, but we do have to kind of actually start to think about these people as human beings, and they've all got feelings and what have you, and I feel like that was a really good statement, to be fair, to make, because I think he was almost under some scrutiny when he was kind of his name was mentioned, Strand Larsen. So it was nice to sort of have that cleared up by Vitor. And then he said the stuff about obviously what to expect from City and everything, and I feel like he pretty much nailed it, really. I mean, they've got a very, very good team, but what I really enjoyed from Vitor, and I hope this is the case, is that they're not treating this game as we've already lost, or keep the deficit down or whatever. He said he wants to put his own stamp on, put his own identity on the game and everything, and he wants to do that going forward. Which, to be fair with you, I quite like. I quite like that mentality. I think that mentality works really, really well when you're thinking about the season going forward. So yeah, I'm happy with his thoughts, really, ahead of the game. I was a bit sort of sceptical on what he was about to say. I thought it was going to be really doom and gloom, and very much like we are. But I'm kind of happy that he wasn't, really. I don't know about you guys. He seems to come across really well, doesn't he, in interviews? Seems to be really sort of positive. And if you've got that sort of positive mentality at the head of the helmet, then, you're probably going to be feeling good in the dressing room, and hopefully that's the case. He talked about the captaincy, and he's not really solid on any of the captains, really. He said that there's 4 candidates, and they're all sort of helping one another out to be more of like a leadership group, which we've seen in the past, but it's quite interesting how there's no designated captain. But everyone was saying it's João Gomez, but it's not actually said by Vitor or the club yet who's actually the captain is. So quite interesting, but I don't hate it. I like the idea of having several different leaders. I think when we've looked in the past, we've really sort of pushed leadership on certain players, and it's kind of ruined them, really. It kind of made them not so good. So potentially maybe this is a better outfit to talk. Just say to your lads, if you're feeling it, if you're looking good in training, and I'm seeing your voice and I'm seeing you do the things the captain should do, you're going to captain the next game. Kind of pushes everyone to sort of do the same thing, really. I quite like that. Interesting tactic. He also talked about what he expects from the team and in the pre-season, and he said that the pre-season wasn't great in terms of results, but he's happy with how the team has come together, and he says that he's really quite happy to have those challenges. He says he doesn't want it to be a sort of even sort of playing field. Really, he wants the challenges. He relishes the challenge, which, to be fair, is quite good, because I feel like in pre-season of old with Gary O'Neill, we did really, really well. You know, we beat RB Leipzig, we beat West Ham really, really comfortably. You know, we almost, came away with a pre-season trophy. But then we went into the season absolutely shocking. So I don't really feel like pre-season is ever a thing where you can say how a team's going to perform. The only problem I've got really is the fact that I don't see his identity on the pitch yet. So it's like someone said in the comments earlier, perhaps, they were just using it as a bit more of a fitness thing instead of like, throwing all guns to the or blazing and sort of just, trying to do more and cause more injury and all these things. So it remains to be seen, but I'm really hoping we just kind of just go at City, because what have we got to lose? You know what I mean? We're the underdogs. It'd be easier just to go at them and create some chances and create some patterns of play and play the way Vitor wants us to play, instead of just sitting back and being boring and not looking like we're interested in trying to just keep the deficit down. I think it's just silly to do that early in the season. I feel like you're better off just trying to go for it. Because the worst comes to the worst, we lose the game and no one's going to expect us to win anyway. So it's one of those games really that I look at sometimes and I feel like, is it better to have these games now, where you're not really too fussed about getting points on the board, because like later on in the season, it could be that this kind of game would have been one of those where you'd be like, well, we're not going to win that and we need points. So you've got to think about things in a different sort of perspective, really. It's probably better to have a harder team first of all. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about how I think Wolves will line up. So I do think Wolves will line up similar to this. I feel like we're probably going to see Hugo Bueno, in my opinion, on that side. I don't think he trusts Keanu Hoover. I don't think he's done enough in the pre-season to warrant a starting place. But you let me know in the comments now, like, what do you guys think? Like, do you think this is kind of how we're going to line up, or do you think there's going to be some differences? I really think I was looking at my back three, so Doc, Agbadu, and Totti, and apparently Mosquera is going to be fit for this game, but not enough to start. So I think putting Doc there for now, I think he was really good in the pre-season. So I feel like if we trust Doc there for now, all right, and then push comes to shove, and we're not quite happy with how he's performing, we can always put Yersin Mosquera on to give us a little bit more solidity. Because I do think Yersin Mosquera is probably our mainstay there, really. And to be honest, I think that's probably going to be everyone's back three. To be honest, I feel like that's a solid back three. I don't think we've looked particularly awful in the pre-season in terms of our back three. I think majority of the times it's been further forward, hasn't it? That's looked pretty poor. And then you've got our new signing Wolf on that side. I don't think he's particularly shown everything yet, but I just feel like it's probably better to start him and see how he gets on, because he's probably going to start in games in the future and he's got enough fitness to start. But if he doesn't play there, probably put Rodrigo Gomez there, because Keanu Hoover doesn't really play on that side at all, really. So yeah, I think that would be my sort of defensive unit. Jose Sarr in goal, of course. I don't really rely too heavily on Johnston at the moment. And then you've got Andre and João Gomez in the middle. I feel like that's everybody's midfield pairing. I don't feel like that's going to change anytime soon. It will be interesting to see who goes off for any of them. Should there be a red or should there be an injury? Because then you've really only got Bellegarde to look at, really. And I think Minetzi playing further backwards. But it's going to be a really, really hard season. Really, I really feel like we need a midfielder because we just don't have anyone there at all. I know that the certain players like Doyle and everything going. It needed to happen. It needed to happen because they need more minutes and whatever. But I just feel like we haven't covered that area enough to have those kind of players go. So yeah, I'm not massively confident on relying on just those two all the time. But I feel like for this game, for sure, that's where we need to start. Jean Arias and Fer Lopez, I think they've impressed in the pre-season, to be fair. And they're two players that we can be quite excited about. And I feel like should any of them get quite tired, I think Molineux is a really good option off the bench because he's got a lot of legs in him. And then we have to rely on Huang at some point, I'm sure. Unless Rodrigo Gomez goes further forward and plays in that back 10 role as well. But I feel like Arias and Lopez will be some good options behind Strand Larsen. The only thing I was thinking is, and I'll show you this now, is whether we'll go almost so we've got Jean Arias here, and then we move Larsen over and put Lopez. So we've almost got like a front two with Jean Arias sort of covering this area because he's got a lot of legs in him and momentum to do that. And then we can always go to like a front three, obviously with sort of like that, so more of like a straight line three. And then we've obviously always going to rely heavily on our wing backs, which will obviously be doing this a lot, while the other one covers the other spot. And then when Wolf goes forward, you'll probably feel like Hugo Bueno will go back to cover those areas. What I did see in the pre-season a lot as well was Andre sort of commanded this almost 6 role, and João Gomez kind of sat here and fed balls to the wing backs. So we might see that as well. And a lot of the times in Vitor Pereira, in Vitor Pereira's team, what you see a lot is the centre backs will get forward as well, and make it almost like this, where Agbadu will sort of be this lone force here, and that's quite strong really, because that allows us to have a higher line, that allows us our wing backs to bomb further forward and have the reliance of our midfield. And it basically is a system where everyone starts to creep forward basically. But against Man City, I think a lot of the times what we'll see is flat back 5 like this. And then I feel like sometimes where we try and catch him out, feel like Arias and Lopez will sort of swing in here, make it more like a 5-4-1, which will give us a little bit more of a defensive stability in the midfield, because I feel like playing a midfield 2 can be a bit of a problem sometimes. But I feel like for the most part, we'll see what we did in the pre-season, which is sort of like a 5-2-2-1 sort of thing. And I feel like that will help as long as Strand Larsen, remains. He needs to improve basically, because his touch hasn't been great in the pre-season. And what I've really, really not been particularly happy about is that he's not really been doing enough on the ball. And what you've been seeing is Jean Arias sort of coming further forward to help him out, leaving this space, which allows João Gomez to sort of go here. And then we've got this horrible gap in the midfield. And that happened a lot because Strand Larsen was struggling to maintain the ball. So Fer Lopez and Arias were sort of going further forward to help him out. We don't want that to happen, because if they're having this midfield 2, you'll have that giant gap appear. So as long as we keep our shape and stay compact, I feel like that's probably going to be the play for me. And off the bench, we haven't got the best options. But I did like Santi Bueno. I did think he was pretty good. So I think if some Mascara isn't quite fit, Santi Bueno in the preseason looked fairly decent as well. The only problem really being is when Munetsi comes on, you're then looking at where Huang's going to go, because he really is a terrible 10. He wants to get further wide, but then sort of steps on our wing backs' toes. And then the problem is he's a terrible 9 as well, because he can't hold the ball up properly. So I haven't actually got him on here, but I probably would say I think Sasha Kalajdzic will get used as well. I feel like Sasha Kalajdzic is a better option, because I feel like in the preseason he impressed, for one. So let's just pretend for a minute that our number 9 here is Sasha Kalajdzic, and what can that do different? Well, he's got a lot more height to him, and he seemed what I liked about Sasha Kalajdzic, which pretend it's him. He liked to do this where he got sort of here. Arias sort of switched position, and then he sort of got wide, and then it started to sort of beat people on the byline like this. I don't feel like Strand Larsen does that enough, which is quite interesting. I don't know if that's a thing that they're doing in training with Sasha Kalajdzic and Larsen can't do it, or I don't know. Really interesting how Sasha seems to sort of hug this byline and try and get a ball in. I don't see Larsen doing that anywhere near as much. I think his work rate needs to improve quite a lot, to be fair, Strand Larsen. But yeah, I think like that's how we'll set up. And I feel like that's kind of what you'll see. I feel like if we start to really, really get pushed back, and I feel like if we get to a point where it's just looking a little bit embarrassing, I do feel like you'll probably see a flat back 5 like this. Feel like your midfield will tuck in like this. Feel like probably Bellegarde will come on and probably replace one of our 10s. Probably for Lopez. I feel like Jan Arias can probably stay on the pitch a bit longer, and you'll probably see a bit of a Christmas tree, or maybe even a diamond like this, and you'll probably see that, and you'll probably see a lot of boring, shitty football. And I really hope that's not what we see. I really hope that we stick to the plan and kind of just have them in the right areas, sort of thing. But it is what it is. I feel like we've got a lot to prove. So the main thing is really for me is to do our best and see what comes of it. But yeah, let's go through your comments. Let's see what you guys want to say. There's a lot of you guys. Thank you so much for getting involved. 500 view here, by the way. Please make sure you're doing the awesome things like in the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hitting that notification bell, guys. Maximus says he's not a happy clapper or a doomslayer. Doomslayer. See? Or if it, yeah. I'm a bit like that, to be fair. I try and be a little bit in between, give a little bit either way, really. But it can be a little bit of a problem, can't it? To be fair. Let me go through your comments a little bit. Maximus says he'd play a 6-3-1. Jesus, imagine. I really hope we don't play like that ever, really, to be honest. I'd rather us just go for it, like I said at the start. Paul said he loves Doc, but Doku skinned him last time. I think, you know what? I don't think Doc gets enough credit, man. I really don't. I feel like Doc's a good lad, and I feel like he's I feel like he does well for Wolves when he comes on. And yeah, I feel like he's gonna have a hard time against the likes of Doku and stuff who can turn him and embarrass him a little bit. But I fear for more players than Doc, to be honest. I don't feel like Doc's going to be the one we have to fear, really. I feel like he's clever enough to get into a decent shape. That lineup would work well, Dan, says Carl. Yeah, nice. Anyone else got a different lineup? Anyone feel like there's probably going to be someone different, perhaps? Been busy writing with the season is going to be a bumpy ride in terms of team. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree, Carl. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but you know what? We've just got to take every game as it comes. Do you know what I mean? And if Fosun isn't gonna back the manager, then what can we do? And the thing is as well, what can Vitor do? Do you know what I mean? It's good enough that he's stayed around. He's slightly been backed, but not anywhere near as much as he needs to be and that he deserves to be. So you know what? Fair play to Vitor Pereira for sticking around. Like you can't really say a lot, really. We've had too many managers just absolutely just leave us in the shit. But yeah, not slating Doc at all. So yeah, we're going to come to that point now, guys. Where what do you guys think the result will be? What do you think the predictions will be? Who do you think is going to score? All those different things. I think I'm not confident on Wolves scoring. I really am not, to be honest. But I feel like we'll want to go for it because you know we're a team that are the underdogs, and we do tend to sort of show up. I don't know if it's because they want us they want their names in the shop window and they want to they've got a lot of eyes on them, so they'll also all of a sudden become really good footballers, competent footballers. Who seems to happen every season, doesn't it? We seem to get a result against a big team at some point. But yeah, my prediction, I think that Wolves will. I think Wolves will lose. I do. I really do think Wolves will lose. My heart says, a draw would be great. I'd take a point now. It'd be fantastic. But I think if I'm being less biased, I do feel Wolves will lose. And I do feel like we'll lose considerably. I feel like it's probably going to be a 3-0 or a 3-1. I really hope it isn't, but I'm not going to bullshit and be extra biased on my team. I do feel like we're going to get our asses handed to us, unfortunately, because they've looked good in the pre-season, and I feel like they've made some good changes. I think Aguilar is going to cook us completely. It's going to be a bit awkward, isn't it? But 600 of you here. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. I had a really good time doing this. We're going to do more previews like this in the future. I feel like they're just a lot more entertaining, a little bit more enjoyable. Getting it out live and talking to you guys ahead of the game straight away. But with the reviews, I'll do what I normally do, just do like a video and everything. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this style of video. It's been a bit of a new one. Hasn't quite worked out the way I wanted it to. There's a couple of errors where I wanted certain windows to be in certain places, but you know what? We winged it and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. In all honesty, I see a 2-0 win, says Andrew. 3-1 City with some VARs. Oh, mate, I really hope there's no VAR shit, mate. I really don't. It'd be interesting as well how many penalties Wolves get this season, because I feel like we didn't get a single penalty last season. It's really bizarre, isn't it? And we didn't get one in the pre-season as well. So Frank just about scored that. So who knows? But I feel like if Wolves are going to score, who is your goal scorer? Who do you feel like will score a goal? It'd be nice and interesting, wouldn't it? I think Jon Arias gets into some areas where I feel like I think as long as we're playing the way Vitor wants us to play, I think Jon Arias will get in an area where he's going to make it really hard for City to mark. He just seems like one of those players, really tricky little bastard. So yeah, I forgot the referees are still going to be crap. Yeah, I know, Andrew. We always think about that, don't we? We might struggle to score, but I think VP will lock us down tight. I think that's going to be an interesting one as well, isn't it? Because I feel like Gary O'Neill just you just didn't have us defend well. We were awful at defending. So it'll be interesting to see how solid we are this time, because we were awful before. If Molineux scores a brace, drinks are on me. Maximus, you've heard it here. Maximus says, if Molineux scores a brace, drinks are on me. I'm in the North Bank, mate. So if he scores 2 goals, don't know where you're going to be in Molineux, but I'm running at you. So I want to drink. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But we're always going to be back in the team, and we're always going to be back in the lads. And we'll be back in Vitor Pereira, man. Like, fair play. It's a good little press conference, wasn't it, that? But yeah, guys, that was really fun. I've enjoyed that. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you for the match review tomorrow evening. But until then, guys, catch you later. Yeah, see you later.